is the lessons. Anyhow, now what we should do as Muslims. So Allah explains us in Surah Aal-e-Imran 3:102 ayah. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullaha haqqa tuqatih wa la tamutunna illa wa antum muslimun. O you who believe, take guard of Allah as the right of taking His guard, and die not except you are Muslim submitters. Now this ayah is referring to the believers. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O who you believe. Amanu taqullaha haqqa tuqati. You take guard of Allah as the right of God, as the taking of His right of His guard. What is the right of taking His guard? What is right in taking guard from Allah? How? You see, the taqwa in Arabic means to defend, to preserve yourself, preserve. You see, I would like to give a comparison between the word in English guard and a word junnah, which means to shield. You see, there are two words which we must understand. There are people, because Allah says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullaha haqqa tuqati. Oh, you believe, take guard of Allah as the right of taking His guard. Now, guard is basically what Allah says in the ayat, the essence, whatever you understand, the essence from Allah's message. You have to, when you follow that, you are guarding your psyche. You are preserving your psyche or psychology by implementing those rules. So, you're psychologically you are benefited and physically you are benefited. Remember this. That is taking guard from Allah's ayats. Preserving yourself from Allah's ayahs, taking a guard. You understand what I'm saying now? Taking a guard from Allah's ayahs is taqwa. And how you take? By following and implementing the ayahs in your life. But if you are shielding your personality, that is junnah. If you shield your personality by again Allah's ayahs, that you reading an ayah to someone so that he will think that you are an implementing man. So if I read an ayah but if I don't implement, so people will consider me as a believer or ignorant man. So now I am shielding myself by the ayahs. So if a person who shields the ayahs, he is not taking guard from Allah's ayahs. He is just using an ayah to cover his personality, to shield his personality. Why I am reminding you of this? Because at times we are confused of taking a guard from Allah's ayahs and by shielding our personality from the Allah's ayahs. Like in the garden when we were Adam was thrown out from the garden, taken out from the garden, the people, they started covering themselves from the leaves. That is again shielding. You are exposed basically. For Allah knows us completely. He knows in and out. But if you take guard and if you cover yourself, covering is basically by the ayahs. Covering yourself is shielding your personality. That you don't take, like you don't guide yourself by the ayahs, but you recite an ayah to shield yourself. Do you understand the difference now? Taking guard of by the Allah's ayahs, that like for example, like one do not be a thief, do not rob. For example. Now there is a commandment. Now if I know the Arabic text, if I read and explain this ayat to people, that we should not be thieves, we should not rob, and I implement in my life, so I have taken the guard from Allah's eyes. But basically if I read an ayah and I am a robber, I am a thief basically, so I am using an ayah to shield my personality. That is not taking a guard, that is shielding.